My wife's movie club watched Nicholas Nickleby, a 2002 movie based on a Charles Dickens book, The Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby. Knowing what I do about Charles Dickens books, this 2-hour and 12-minute movie must have been highly edited. The story starts off with the death in the family, which leaves the Nickleby family with no income and no prospects. They turn to family for help. This is where we're introduced to Uncle Ralph, played by Christopher Plummer, who instead of helping them the way one would expect family, the children are treated extremely poorly. Uncle Ralph is a villain. His motivations are greed and malice, and he is the movie's way of introducing us to a very terrible and bleak world. By his hand, Nicholas Nickleby is sent to a sketchy boarding school led by a sadistic Mr. and Mrs. Squeers. The children are kept like farm animals, beaten regularly, and fed poorly. The offending family still holds that they are doing good in the world by taking care of the boys. This family has no problem with lying about others, the beating, unclean conditions, turning a crippled boy into a slave and calling it charity. Nicholas hates this world. He cannot stand it, but he keeps mostly quiet as it is his employment. His sister Kate is also subjected to some other dregs of society. Her uncle has subjected her to humiliations and lecherous men in a rather tasteful display of sexual harassment. It's disturbing enough to illustrate the point, but we are not subjected to the grotesque crimes in a visual manner. I say tastefully done because it's not explicit. For example, the one hands-on experience of the sexual harassment is done behind a curtain. You're disgusted by it, you know it's happening, but there's no lingering images that you need to flush out of your conscience. With that introduction, the movie version of Nicholas Nickleby is made into a story about the power of hope. While there are terrible things in the world, there are horrible people and oppressive influences, the most motivating power of change and good is caused by a hope in something better. Nicholas Nickleby's beliefs in the better world, his belief in good, shapes his actions. He has hope that the world is not like this all over, and not supposed to be like this, and that there is a way to get saved. Madeline, who we see as Nicholas's love interest, has lost hope. For her, there is no way out. She has a learned helplessness.
Every good thing has been a trick until you.
Like the elephant and his rope, Madeline no longer sees that she has the ability to escape, and so she doesn't even try. She fails to see the pure goodness of the Cherubini brothers, claiming Nicholas is the only exception to this bleak world. Yet she is afraid to take Nicholas's hand because she does not want to be let down again. To her, all the good in the world has been a trick, that behind every good or kind appearance, there is greed and weakness. We choose how we see the world. You may have devastating experiences in your life that have marred your expectations. You have been let down, falsely accused, punished unjustly, or a collection of other crimes against you, leading you to believe that you are helpless against so much wrong in the world. Or you may be guilty or have shown yourself a poor character from time to time, resulting in you giving up on yourself, like Uncle Ralph does in the end of this movie. But hope is a choice. Nicholas makes the choice to stand up for the right. He fought the Squeers and ran off with Smike. He did not have a safety net, no money, no transportation, not anything but hope that there was something better out there than where he was currently at. I think there are at least 3 lessons about hope in this Nicholas Nickleby film. First, as we see Nicholas stand up against the threatening Squeers, we can see and learn one of the fruits of hope is courage. Hope told him that actions can be taken despite fearful situations. Nicholas Nickleby tells us we have the power over our situations. We can change the script. We can escape evil, cultivate relationships, defend justice, and be kind, making the world a better place to live in, all by seeing the hope of a better world. The second lesson I saw was that hope is part of reality. It does not ignore the real world with failures, faults, bad things all around us. Instead, it allows us to see that there is more than these bad things in the world, that good is not a trick, it is real. Madeline had given up on anything good. She had no hope, to the point that she was willing to go through with marriage to a man of ill repute, despite several other opportunities and solutions. It took Nicholas to show her it is never too late for hope. And despite mankind's failures, our attempts to do the right and be just can bring joy and happiness if we allow ourselves to see the good and a promise of good things to come. Third, Uncle Ralph shows us the end game of hopelessness. When he receives the false reports about Nicholas, he believes the worst. He dismisses anything that might be an explanation and fosters a hatred towards the boy. He even vows to destroy the boy at the expense of his company.
I will strike him until he can be struck no more.
I didn't get the feeling it was some kind of righteous crusade, but at the same time, I think in the character arc that they were putting in this, he really thought he was in the right. Just like him, a part of us gives in to hopelessness when we assume the worst about others, when we don't forgive, or we foster hatred towards others. Near the end, he loses his investors, his money, and family. He also learns that his son, whom he thought was dead, and had previously hidden from the world for business reasons, had not been dead until recently, and that he took a part in the cruelty towards him before his death. With all this coming to him, he allows himself to be consumed by deserved regret, but it also snuffed out any hope for redemption, and he ends his life. This is not viewed as a triumph, but as a sad reminder of where hopelessness leads. Nicholas Nickleby is a film with a lot of story, but not a lot of time to tell it. It takes some shortcuts with characters and many of the quick resolutions. I still think the remaining content is able to paint a clear image about allowing hope in your life and to see the good and to act accordingly to the promises of a better future.
Hey, kid, be thankful. It's positively tremendous. That's really